IUIC in the town of Ocoee. Yeah. What's going on, party people? The place to be. I go by the name of the BK Apologist, transmitting all the way live. New York is the city. Brooklyn is the borough. What's going on? What's popping? Hope everybody's doing well. We are here once again to do what we do, defend the gospel and debunk all criticisms and accusations towards the church and the gospel and Christianity proper. We got Stevie Rankins on the check-in. What's going on, sir? And please, if you have not yet already, like, share, and subscribe. Please, please, please. You know, we're trying to get to 5K by the end of the year. It's been a long process, but it could be done. I think we're just a few hundred subs away. And if you guys could just spread the word, it would greatly enhance my chances to make that goal. You are my street team. You are my amplifier. You guys are the ones that will get the word out for me. So please, 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 if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Encourage, the people in your respective ministries to do so. Your Facebook friends, Instagram. Just share, just share the video, just post this video on your timeline, on your time feed. Something as simple as that can go a long way. Okay. So I really would appreciate that. We got Phil Fox on the check-in. What's going on? The real American, and of course we got to say what's up to all the veterans who have, defended this nation of ours. And regardless of where you land in the political spectrum, this is one of the few things that I think we all could agree on, that we appreciate the men and women who serve, who put their life on the line for our freedoms. And regardless of how you feel about where these soldiers are being sent, these soldiers have made a commitment to defend us. So big up to all the vets. You know what I mean? You got Michelle Turner on the check-in as well. Bodega ladies in the casa, the building. So this is a short video from IUIC, because they tend to try to slip in these Black history moments, right? Which I find very interesting, because a lot of these Black moments have nothing to do with them specifically, but they tend to want to co-opt certain moments to say that this is what, look what our people have done, right? So this is one of these videos. So with that being said, let's get to it.
Did you know an entire Black community was almost entirely erased from history in one single night? This wasn't a natural disaster. This was Ocoee, Florida, 1920. It was a prosperous Black community with its own land and businesses. The spark? A successful farmer named Moses Norman dared to exercise his right to vote. On election day, white mobs formed. His defiance was a threat to a system of silence. The night of November 2nd became an inferno. Mobs swept in, burning homes and driving hundreds of Blacks out. The official count says only a few died, but eyewitnesses and historians suggest the true number of lives lost was hundreds. The astonishing part? Their homes, their land, their entire district stolen. The survivors fled, and for decades, this massacre was buried in the history books to cover up theft and terror. The silence was so complete that some living there today still don't know the ground beneath their feet was once a vibrant city, a truth hidden for 100 years. But the question is, what else has been intentionally erased from history that we still don't know about? Hit share if you think this story needs to be told.
So, all this is accurate. Everything that's been said here is true. This definitely occurred in this town in Florida. It was originally a all-white town, but a lot of the former slaves moved in, and they created a space for themselves in this spot in Florida. But the vibrancy that IUIC is talking about this town. What was the catalyst for such a vibrant Black space, right? So this is from Bending Toward Justice, Chapter 4, Religious and Fraternal Organizations. It says the churches, the churches in Ocoee anchored the community, with the two neighborhoods identified as Methodist and Baptist. Churches supported faith, encouraged hope, provided charity, gave song to dreams, and provided a forum for social justice. Black ministers were often the bridge between congregations and the white community. Church structures became the first schools in Black communities. Before either the Julius Rosenwald Foundation or county or municipal governments built schoolhouses for Black children, Black Ocoee supported two churches, an African Methodist Episcopal, AME, Church, and Friendship Missionary Baptist Church. The African Methodist Episcopal Church and the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church were the twin pillars of the African American community in Ocoee, Florida before 1920. Spiritually, socially, educationally, and politically, their importance cannot be overstated. Below is a structured historical explanation. So let's break down these two churches. Let's start with the AME. The Ocoee AME Church established in the 1890s, likely by migrants from nearby Winter Garden and Ocoee, who brought with them the AME denomination's strong tradition of self-help and education. The AME Church was not just a house of worship, it was a community center, hosting meetings, literacy lessons, and gatherings that nurtured self-reliance and unity. It formed the heart of what residents called the Methodist Quarters, a northern neighborhood of Ocoee that housed many of the area's landowners, educators, and community leaders. So you also have the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, founded circa 1896. It anchored the Baptist quarters south of downtown Ocoee. It was a simple wooden building that doubled as a school and meeting hall, reflecting how early Black congregations used churches as multi-purpose institutions in the absence of public facilities for African Americans. The church provided mutual aid and social organization, helping families survive in an era of racial segregation and limited economic opportunity. For Ocoee's Black residents, the church was more than a sanctuary. It was the seat of community life, education, and activism. To attack the church was to attack the entire community. And this is from Orange County Regional History Center. Yesterday, this was home, the Ocoee Massacre of 1920. Okay, so, and here's a map. So on one side of town, you had the Methodist quarters. And then on the other side, you see here, you had the Baptist quarters, where the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church was located at. So this town was bookended by Black churches. They were pillars. They're the ones that made sure everybody was educated and was well informed. The churches, okay? Both churches provided basic education through Sunday schools and informal instruction. Literacy and religious studies were deeply intertwined in AME and Baptist traditions throughout the Reconstruction and Jim Crow eras. Local oral histories and archival material, see Lester J. Dobbs, A Report of the Circumstances, 1969, show that church members collectively raised funds for textbooks, school supplies, and teachers' stipends. These churches filled the gap left by segregated schooling, empowering Ocoee's Black youth with literacy and civic values. No Hebrew Israelites. None. Churches. Okay. The AME Church and Friendship Baptist Church became organizing hubs for voter registration. In the months leading up to the November 2nd, 1920 election, a pivotal year when Black Floridians sought to assert their political rights under the 19th Amendment, which enfranchised women, and existing Reconstruction era laws. Julius July Perry, a deacon in the Ocoee AME Church, and Mose Norman, the guy that they talked about in the IUIC video, right, was a farmer and member of the same congregation, spearheaded efforts to register and mobilize Black voters. The church hosted meetings, planning sessions, and education drives to teach community members how to vote correctly and avoid disqualification on the poll tests. The massacre was to keep these Black folk from voting. But who was behind the inspiration and the education of these Black people going to vote? It was the church. Mose Norman, the guy who put his vote and they attacked him, he was a member of the AME Church. He learned how to pass these poll tests because he was educated by the church. All right? Their activism, rooted in church life, led to violent backlash. When Norman attempted to vote and was turned away, white mobs retaliated, burning both the AME Church and Friendship Missionary Baptist Church to the ground during the Ocoee massacre that night. Quote, the destruction of the two Black churches in Ocoee was no coincidence. They were the centers of the Black community's independence and self-determination. This is from Paul Ortiz. Emancipation betrayed the hidden history of Black organizing and white violence in Florida. And here's some other sources that were used for a lot of these citations. You can grab a screenshot of this. And you can get a screenshot of this as well if you want to do more research on this event. So what's the point here? What's the point? What's the point? Hebrew Israelites had nothing to do with this. That's the point. That's the point. It was the Black church. It was the AME and the Baptist church that got people educated, that got people activated, and encouraged and inspired people to move themselves up in society. It was the churches, people who believe in the divinity of Christ, people who actually believe in the triune nature of God, people who believe that they were saved not by works but by grace. These people were the ones that helped establish and develop these towns, this town in particular, and it empowered themselves to move forward in this world. The church, not you guys. And I find it so hypocritical of IUIC that you bang on the church every day. You guys have daily content worldwide, hundreds of different YouTube channels from various places. I mean, in New York alone, you have, IUIC Brooklyn, IUIC Harlem, the Bronx, New Rochelle, IUIC Buffalo, like just New York, tons of different channels every day telling people stay away from the Christian church. It's the devil. It's the white man's religion. It's as addictive as crack. Every day, which is fine if that's what you believe. But then don't come and co-opt what the church does that you like. Like, don't do that. Don't be a hypocrite. If you hate everything about the church, stay over there with that. Stay over there with that. But don't be like, hey, look what happened in Ocoee. Yeah, look what happened. Look what happened, how these black churches got together and was able to develop this community to a point where it was an actual threat. You guys are ridiculous. Like, stop. Which one is it? Is the church terrible or is the church good? Because most of the time you bang on the church. And again, that's fine. But be consistent though. You guys have no connection with the Baptist or AME churches. In fact, you guys will, right now, I'm sure you've blitzed some of these churches already. So how are you going to blitz and want to tear down churches and then turn around and be like, hey, look what we did. You guys didn't do anything. You guys didn't help and develop these communities. You've never developed a community in America. You haven't. You critique the community, but you know what? You've never established or developed one. You know who has? The church. The church has done it for years, centuries in this country. When no one else was here to provide it and give us resources, it was the churches that took the mantle and made sure that everybody had what they need so they can advance in their lives. It was the church. And I'm pretty sure these guys were wearing fringes. So you guys got to cut this out. Cut it out. You hate the church. You fight every day. You encourage and try to persuade people not to be in the church. But stay with that though. If that's how you feel, of course we all disagree with y'all. But stay over there. Stay on that side. Don't come over here when you see something that you like. Stop it. Stop being hypocrites. We don't follow the statutes or commandments, right? We don't do that, right? We don't teach, we're lawless vagabonds over here, right? We're terrible for black folk. We're hypertension, right? The church is high blood pressure for the church. We're bad for black folk, right? That's what you keep telling us. But then don't try to sneak and co-op stuff that the church has done that you like. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You just can't. If the church is terrible for black people, then it's always terrible for black people. But don't be like, well, in the 1920s, Mr. Norman. Yeah, Mr. Norman, who's part of the church, who was educated, who was able to pass the poll tax, which was a horrible thing to have to do in the first place. But he was able to pass the test and cast his vote. They couldn't stop him. All the barriers that they had that stop a black man from voting didn't work. Why? Because the black church educated him. And he went and he casted his vote. And when they saw that they had no other recourse, that's when they went and burnt down what? The churches. Because they understood what was the heartbeat and the backbone of that community. No, Mr. Israel, this is not an IUIC page. Yes, there's a lot of content about them here because a lot of people, unfortunately, listen to them. And I'm hoping that you've seen the videos and you see ample enough reason why no one should really give them any credence. So please feel free to peruse the content on this page. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend. You know what I mean? So they need to stop with this. If the church is evil and wicked, then it's wicked and evil. But don't cozy up and be like, hey, look what happened here. Look what happened to the church, you mean, right? That's what you mean. That's what you mean, right? Because nobody was fronting like there were Hebrews there. People who believed in the triune nature of God, who believed in the new covenant, who believe they're saved by grace and not by works. It was those people that fed and clothed and educated and empowered Black people. They're the ones that developed that town. They're the ones that helped Black people become a threat to those who wanted to oppress them. It was the church that equipped them to do that. It wasn't you. And here's a newsflash: it's still not you. It's still not you. Black people have progressed and fought despite the things that have been created to prevent them. We've overcome so much. Why? Because of the gospel. And because of these houses of worship who decided to make sure that they apply the teachings of Christ. The only reason why you even have the ability to critique the church is because the church has given you the ability to have a voice to begin with. If you think the church is wrong and is a detriment to the Black community, fine. But be consistent with that, though. Be consistent with that. Because you guys are slick. You do these little reels about these Black history moments, and all these moments are great because the Black church was involved in those moments. Not you. Not you. Towns and entire ecosystems for Black communities were developed by churches. So, Mr. Israel, this is what you're getting from this conversation. This is what you're getting. What I'm talking about is the hypocrisy of IUIC co-opting the positive things that the Black church has done, at the same time always railing against that same church. That's what we're talking about. Was there any mention of Catholicism here, sir? Come on. Come on. And this is your response. This is your takeaway from this. Come on. So let me ask you, Mr. Israel. Should IUIC co-opt the very thing that they are against? Yes or no question. Or should they be consistent with their hatred towards the church? Oh, yeah. Big Ocoee fallacy, Michelle. Big time. Big time. With a little red herring sprinkled on top. So answer that. Should IUIC co-opt the great things the Black church has done when they are against the Black church at the same time? Should they be doing that, Mr. Israel? Right? Yeah. You always got the church name in your mouth. Always got something bad to say about it. But then you guys do these type of videos. It makes no sense. You don't get the glory of what these Christians have done in the past. You don't get to have that. Now, if you bend the knee and pledge your fealty to Yeshua HaMashiach, then yes. Yeah, but your question, Mr. Israel, had nothing to do with the subject matter in this video. Because I know you didn't hear you didn't hear me not once mention Catholicism. All the sources that I cited had nothing to do with Catholicism. You wanted to change the topic. So let me ask you again, since you want to have a conversation, right? You have something to say, you're in the chat. So let me ask you again, Mr. Israel. Should IUIC co-opt the great things that the church has done when at the same time they do nothing but bash the same church? Should they do that, Mr. Israel? Should they do that? Should you do that? Thank you, Ms. Turner. Appreciate that. You know, because you came out of nowhere with Catholicism. It wasn't on the thumbnail. It wasn't in the title. They didn't mention anything about Catholicism when I played the IUIC reel. They didn't mention Catholicism. I didn't mention Catholicism. The people in the chat didn't do that. Just you, sir. So again, Mr. Israel, should IUIC co-opt the greatness of the Black church while at the same time condemn it? We're waiting for your response, sir. And if you don't want to respond, that's fine too. Just say that. Just tell us something, Mr. Israel. Tell us something. So yeah. So once again, you can't talk from both sides of your mouth, IUIC. Stop. And it's like, why even do these videos? Like, I don't see how this helps you guys. It's like, it's weird. It's so weird. It's like you hate the church. Right? When Pastor Mitchell had the prayer thing in Atlanta, thousands of you guys showed up and surrounded the stadium to interrupt Christians praying. That's how much you hate the church. Oh man, I don't know if they're gonna have me in Jubilee. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. But right? You go in front of churches on Sunday mornings calling out people's pastors. You guys got serious issues with the church. But yet you want to go into history and talk about the greatness of Black folk. But the greatness was inspired by the church. This community that you talked about, that unfortunately was massacred by white oppressors. And yes, we can say that. We're not blind to that. White people have been wicked. White people have also been righteous. But we have no problem calling out anybody for their sin, white or Black. It's equal opportunity over here, fam. So yeah, those white people, wicked. Absolutely, for what they did. And as wicked as they were, they had to burn. Think about it. The church was so impactful and was so empowering that no matter what rules they put in place, they couldn't stop Black people. They literally, because you said it in the video, they literally had to erase the town. But that's a testimony of how powerful the church was, not you. We are where we at today because of the gospel. You are able to critique and do all the things that you do publicly because Black men and women have died so that we can have to, so you can have the right to bash us. You're ungrateful. You need it, you know what I mean? It's like, but you're ingrates. That's the irony of all this. Like, you couldn't even come at us if it wasn't for all the advancements that the church has done for Black people. And Mr. Israel, I don't see you anymore. What's up? What's up, Mr. Israel? What's going on? Somebody tag Mr. Israel in the chat. Because he wanted to talk about Catholicism, but he didn't want to talk about the hypocrisy of IUIC for some reason. Big up Shoddy, Bodega Ladies in the house. Aren't they in captivity? So how are they so free to do all this marching and grandstanding? Listen, it is the sexiest captivity I've ever seen, sis. They have passports. They fly around the world. They have conferences. You know? There you go. There you go. So, yeah. So, again, stop. You guys are hypocrites. If you hate the church, be consistent with your hatred. If the church is terrible for Black people, stay with that. Don't come creeping into history and try to co-opt. Look what we've done. You've done nothing. You've done nothing but be an enemy of the cross. That's all you've been. That's all you've been. So let's stop with this, please. And every time you guys do one of these little videos, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. But this is ridiculous. If you hate the church, be consistent, please. Don't come here and be like, well, look what you didn't do any of this. You didn't do any of this. So, but that's it. I guess Mr. Israel has left the building. So, with that being said, thank you for coming. Please share the video once it's done. And it's BK signing off. Peace.